The sun rises slow over New York City, pouring gold light across the skyline at JFK International Airport. The day begins earlier than anywhere else. By the time the first beams hit the glass, thousands of travelers are already on the move. The terminal feels like a living machine, rolling suitcases clattering across the floor, coffee cups clutched in tired hands, voices overlapping in dozens of languages. Every few minutes a loudspeaker interrupts. Attention passengers, flight 237 to Los Angeles is now boarding at gate 14. It's the rhythm of modern life, rushed, familiar, ordinary. But nothing about this morning will stay ordinary near the main security checkpoint. Lieutenant David Carter walks with purpose. His uniform is pressed, boots polished, every movement efficient. Years of service show in the way he scans a crowd, calm but never casual. Beside him, a German shepherd moves in perfect step. Rex, powerful frame, dock coat, ears tuned to every sound. His eyes shift constantly, reading signals invisible. Two humans. Rex doesn't need words. His job is instinct, refined by training, sharpened by discipline. David glances down, a subtle nod. Rex flicks his ears, acknowledging they've done this together for years. The bond between Handle and Canine is more than partnerships, survival. David's voice is low, steady, easy. Boy, just a sweep. To the crowds rushing past, they're barely noticed, just another officer with a dog. But in reality, they are the first line of defense. Machines can scan bags, cameras can track faces, but only Rex can catch the invisible, the faint trace of chemicals, the hidden signal of fear, across the concourse. A family enters through the sliding glass doors. Their pace is slower than the business travelers and tourists rushing past. The father, Mark Thompson, carries a stroller folded under one arm and grips a boarding pass in the other. His shoulders sag with the weight of responsibility more than luggage. Lily, his wife, juggles a diaper bag and tries to keep calm in the chaos. Her eyes dart around, checking the signs, the clock, the people. She's not nervous about flying.
She's nervous about traveling with a 3-year-old. That 3-year-old is Emma. Small, curly-haired cheeks, still round with babyhood in her arms. She clutches a stuffed teddy bear, worn at the seams, fur matted from years of love. The toy is almost bigger than her, but Emma holds it like a shield against the noise of the world. Mark leans down. "You got Mr. Ted." Emma nods seriously, squeezing the bear tighter. She doesn't say much. Airports are too loud, too bright. She just wants to stay close to her parents. To anyone watching, they look like a normal family heading for a vacation.
Ordinary, safe. But soon, ordinary will be questioned. Near the far end of the terminal, another traveler enters, different, dark, tailored suit, black sunglasses, even inside. A silver suitcase glides silently behind him. He doesn't rush, doesn't look around, doesn't even acknowledge the chaos around him. He moves with a kind of confidence that hides something heavy, something dangerous. No one notices him, not yet. He looks like a businessman, like 100 others who pass through every hour, but the story of this day will bend around him. Like a shadow stretching across the floor, David and Rex continue their sweep. To them, it's routine until Rex stiffens. His ears snap forward, his muscles tense. He slows his pace, nose lifting, slightly. David notices immediately. He gives a signal, 2 fingers down, slight tug on the leash. "What is it, buddy?" Rex doesn't bark, not yet, but his focus has shifted. His body language is clearly loud. Something's here. David's eyes follow Rex's line of sight. The German shepherd is staring directly toward the young family, Mark, Lily, and Emma. David frowns. Families aren't unusual. Children aren't threats, but Rex has no concept of family or innocence. He only knows scent. Something has triggered his instinct. David slows his pace, blending in with the crowd while watching closely. He doesn't want to alarm the parents. Not yet. Meanwhile, the airport keeps moving. Boarding groups are called. Coffee shops hum with chatter. Wheels of luggage scrape along polished floors. The rising sun casts long streaks of light across the terminal, almost blinding against the glass walls. The scene looks peaceful, but beneath the surface, 2 currents are moving. 1, the family, unaware of the danger building around them. 2, the man with the silver suitcase, moving closer to the gates with each step, and standing between them all, David and Rex. David adjusts his grip on the leash. He doesn't know it yet, but in just a few minutes, Rex's reaction will turn this quiet morning upside down. 1 bark, 1 sound, enough to shatter peace and throw the entire airport into chaos. The loudspeaker chimes again. "Attention passengers. Flight 742 to Miami is now boarding at gate 23. Emma looks up at her parents, clutching her teddy bear tighter. For her, this is just another morning. She can't imagine that inside her stuffed toy lies the spark of suspicion that could break her family apart. The man in sunglasses glances back, just for a moment. His hand grips the handle of the silver suitcase, a little tighter. Then he keeps walking, blending into the stream of travelers, and Rexy knows. His body quivers with focus. His job is simple: detect, alert, protect. And he is seconds away from making the call that will change everything. The stage is set. The family, the officer, the dog, the stranger with the silver case. The sun is barely above the horizon. But for everyone inside JFK International Airport, this will be a day that starts with dawn and ends in shock. The morning hum of the airport feels steady, almost comforting. Announcements roll and footsteps echo. Wheels clatter across tile. People are rushing, but it's a controlled rush, nothing unusual. And then it happens. Rex stops dead in his tracks. His muscles lock, ears sharp, nose flaring. For half a second, David thinks it's nothing, a stray smell, maybe food, but he knows better. Rex doesn't freeze unless it matters. Then the sound cuts through the terminal. One bark, loud, sharp, violent against the calm. Heads turn, conversations stop, a few people flinch like the sound was aimed at them. Rex lunges forward on the leash, barking again, deeper this time, teeth flashing for an instant. He's not attacking, but he's warning, signaling. David reacts, instantly, planting his feet, tightening the leash. Rex's heel. The command is strong, practiced, but Rex won't stop staring. His focus is locked on one target, the family. Mark instinctively steps in front of Lily and Emma, arms out. The voice comes out sharp, defensive. Hey, what's going on? Lily pulls Emma close, clutching her daughter against her chest. The little girl squeezes her teddy bear so tight her knuckles turn white, her eyes go wide, lips trembling. Then the fear breaks through, she cries out, a small voice swallowed by Rex's bark. David raises his hand, signaling to nearby officers, hold position, do not move them yet. His tone is calm but commanding. He knows how fast panic spreads in a crowd like this. Travelers nearby slow down, whispering, eyes darting between the family and the canine team. A few back away, dragging their bags, giving distance. Others pull out their phones, recording, always recording. Mark's voice rises over the noise. Why is your dog barking at my kid? David steps closer, steady, one hand controlling Rex, the other held out in reassurance. Sir, I need you to stay calm. We just need to check something. Check what? She's 3 years old. Mark's face flushes red, a mix of fear and anger. He's not used to being confronted like this, especially not with his child involved. Lily's voice trembles. She's scared. Please, can you just please call your dog back? David doesn't move his eyes from Rex. He knows better. If Rex is locked on, something triggered it. Something chemical. Something unusual. Dogs don't lie. Ma'am, I understand, David says softly, but I need you to stay right here. We'll figure this out. Emma cries harder, burying her face into the teddy bear. She doesn't understand the barking, the stares, the way strangers suddenly look at her family like they don't belong. To her, it's just fear. Rex barks again, pulling hard on the leash, trying to get closer. His teeth flash, spit flying with each bark. He's not out of control. This is controlled urgency. He's telling David, this is it. This is the source. David lifts his radio, voice crisp, control. This is Carter. Possible positive alert at checkpoint 3. Family with minor child. Advise immediate backup. The words are calm, professional, but the effect is instant. Within seconds, the airport's mood shifts. The calm breaks. Red lights flash on nearby security posts. The siren cuts briefly, signaling lockdown procedures. Officers converge, hands near holsters, eyes scanning the crowd. The ripple spreads through travelers' confusion first, then fear. Someone shouts, "What's happening?" Another voice echoes, "Is it a bomb?" And that's all it takes. Panic. People scatter. Some run, some crouch behind benches. Some abandon their luggage completely. The sound of Rex's bark has become the Spock, and the entire terminal feels on edge. Mark throws his arms wide as the officers close in. Wait, stop, we didn't do anything. Lily's tears spill as she hugs Emma, rocking her gently, whispering, "It's okay, baby, it's okay." Though her voice cracks, David raises his hand again, calling out to his team, "Stand down, no sudden moves." He knows this could spiral fast to fast. The sight of guns, the sound of boots, the child crying, one wrong step and this family is branded guilty before the truth is even clear. He kneels slightly, lowering himself closer to Emma's eye level, speaking softer now, Sweetheart, can I see your teddy bear? Emma shakes her head furiously, holding it tighter. Her tears smear against the matted fur. Mark's voice shakes with fury. You are not touching her. She's a kid. What the hell are you people doing? David's jaw tightens. His radio crackles with a supervisor's voice. Carter, secure the family now. Priority 1, do not delay. It's the kind of order that doesn't invite discussion. But David hesitates. He looks at Emmett terrified, trembling, clutching her bear as if it's her only safe place. And then at Rexalit, certain, still straining toward the child. He's caught in the middle. Between protocol and compassion, between orders and instinct, he speaks firmly, choosing his words carefully. Sir, ma'am, I know this looks bad, but my dog doesn't make mistakes. Something on that bear triggered him. We need to check it. We'll be as gentle as possible. Lily sobs, shaking her head. It's just a toy. She won't sleep without it. Please don't scare her like this. Emma's cry rises again, echoing through the hall. It cuts through the tension more than sirens, more than shouts. For a moment, everyone hears each fear from a child caught in something bigger than itself. David lowers his radio, ignoring the supervisor pressing for action. His eyes stay locked on the family, his voice steady. Look, I have to trust my partner, but I also know you're scared. Help me out, let me do my job without making this worse. Please. Mark glares at him, chest heaving, protective to the core. For a moment it looks like he'll refuse. Then he glances at Emma, clinging desperately to the bear. His face softens just a fraction. You better not hurt her, he growls. David nods once, signaling his team to hold back, then steps closer, slow, measured, careful. Rex growls low in his throat, the leash taut. He knows they're getting close to the source. The crowd watches, in silence now, every phone raised, every pair of eyes waiting for the next moment. And David knows. The line between peace and chaos has already been crossed. Whatever happens next, this family's life will never be the same. The bark is spoken. The silence after Rex's last bark lasts only a heartbeat. Then the airport erupts. Red strobes flash above the security gates. The intercom crackles with a cold metallic tone. Security alert. All passengers remain calm and follow instructions from airport personnel. But no one remains calm. Not here, not now. A wave of panic rushes through the concourse. People scatter in every direction. Luggage tips over. Coffee spills across the tile. Voices collide into a roar of fear. Someone yells bomb. And that single word spreads faster than the sirens. Parents grab their kids. Strangers push past each other, desperate to escape. In seconds, order collapses into chaos. David plants his feet, gripping Rex's leash tight. His voice cuts through the noise, sharp and commanding. Clear the area, move back. This zone is restricted. Officers surge in from every direction, weapons ready but not raised yet. Their presence is enough to amplify the fear. The sight of body armor and drawn lines makes every bystander certain something is wrong. Something dangerous, Mock shouts, over the din, voice cracking from the strain. We didn't do anything. Stop pointing at us. Lily shields Emma, who clutches her teddy bear tighter than ever, sobbing into the warm fur. Her small cries are lost in the storm of footsteps and alarms. To the crowd, they don't look like a family anymore. They look like suspects. Targets, the center of danger. And there's no way to explain innocence when fear decides the truth. David raises his radio, speaking fast. Control, this is Carter. Area is compromised. Civilians in panic. I need containment units at checkpoint 3. Immediately, the voice in his earpiece comes back cold. Direct, copy, secure the family. Isolate and detain. Do not allow them to move. David's eyes narrow. He glances at Mark and Lily faces pale, defensive, trapped. He sees Emma's tiny body shaking in her mother's arms. The thought of treating them as criminals twists something deep inside him. But the order is clear. He clenches his jaw. Understood. Moving to secure. Rex growls low, tugging toward the bear. His instincts don't care about tears or fear. To him this is simple. Threat detected. Alert issued. Resolve it. David lowers his voice, speaking to his partner. Easy, Rex. We'll handle it. Officers spread out, forming a half circle around the family. Their hands hover near holsters, eyes hard. The message is clear. No escape. Mark spreads his arms wide, stepping in front of his wife and daughter. You're not taking us anywhere. Not without an explanation. One officer snaps back. Sir, step aside now. Hands where I can see them. I said we didn't do anything. Mark's voice breaks with frustration, his body shaking with adrenaline. He looks like a man cornered, like an animal ready to fight. David steps between them quickly, one palm out toward Mark, the other toward his own team. Stand down. Alt of you. His voice carries authority earned, not demanded. We are not escalating this in front of a child. For a moment, the circle pauses, but the tension is knife-sharp, ready to snap with the smallest spark. Emma cries harder, muffled against her teddy bear. Her voice is high, trembling. "Mommy, I'm scared." Lily strokes her hair, whispering desperately, "It's okay, baby. Mommy's here. Just hold on." Her own tears streak down her face, betraying the lie in her words. She's terrified, too. David kneels low again, forcing his voice softer despite the chaos. "Emma, sweetheart, can you show me your bed, just for a second? I promise I'll give it right back." Emma shakes her head, gripping tighter. Her whole body curls around the stuffed toy, as though giving it up means giving up safety itself. Mock explodes. "Are you kidding me? You're traumatizing a kid over a toy." David doesn't answer him directly. He knows time is running short. The supervisors want action, not sympathy. The crowd outside the perimeter grows restless. Dozens of phones filming every second. The pressure is suffocating. The intercom voice booms again. "Attention, security teams are responding. All passengers remain where you are." But passengers don't remain. They keep pushing back, desperate to flee. The ripple of panic expands, spreading further down the concourse, threatening to shut down the entire terminal. David's radio crackles. "Carter, enough waiting. Confiscate the item now." He looks at Rex, then at Emma. He takes a slow breath, steadying himself against the weight of orders, duty, and humanity. Finally, he speaks low to the family. "Listen to me. I don't want to hurt you, but if we don't resolve this, things are going to get worse. Please let me check the bear." Mark shakes his head, trembling with fury. "You think I'm going to let strangers tear my daughter's toy apart in front of her? She needs that bear. She needs it to breathe, to sleep, to feel safe. And you're going to what? Treat her like a suspect." David's eyes harden. His voice lowers, just enough for Mark to hear. "Sir, if I don't take the bear, they'll take your daughter." The words hit like a punch. Mark freezes, his protective instinct colliding with the brutal reality. He looks at Lily, whose tear-streaked face mirrors his own fear. Neither of them has a choice anymore. Emma whimpers again, and Lily whispers, "It's okay, baby. Just let the nice man borrow Teddy for a second." Emma hesitates. Her small fingers loosen, just slightly. David nods gently. "Progress." But before he can act, Rex barks again, louder, sharper, pulling forward with explosive strength. The leash strains against David's grip, teeth bared toward the stuffed toy. The crowd gasps. Phones record, offices tense, hands on weapons. And in that charged instant, with alarms blaring and panic flooding the air, the family stands trapped in a circle of suspicion, their world collapsing in front of strangers' eyes. The red alert is no longer a signal. It's reality. The airport is at war with itself, fear against truth, protocol against compassion, and no one knows yet which side will win. The red lights keep pulsing overhead, painting the terminal in flashes of warning. The crowd is pushed back, but their eyes never leave the scene. Dozens of phones are raised, recording, narrating, speculating. At the center of it all, one family, surrounded. Emma's small hands cling to the teddy bear, trembling. Her cheeks are wet with tears, her chest heaving with little sobs. To her, this isn't an airport anymore. It's a nightmare. Her father stands tall, fists clenched, rage burning behind his eyes. Her mother holds her close, shielding her as if the circle of armed officers could be kept out with a mother's embrace. And David Carter, K9 handler, kneels just feet away, Rex pressed tight to his side, the leash pulled taut. His partner's growl vibrates low and constant, a living alarm clock that won't be silenced. The radio in David's ear barks again. "Carter, confiscate the bear. Repeat, take it now. We don't have time for hesitation." His jaw tightens. He doesn't answer right away. Orders are clear, but his eyes stay fixed on the family. He sees fear. He sees love. He sees something his training manuals never prepared him for. The cost of being wrong. Mark explodes first. Voice roar, chest heaving. "You people are insane. She's a child. That's a stuffed animal, not a weapon." One officer steps closer. "Voice shop, sir. Step back immediately." Mark doesn't move. His arms spread wide again, Barty blocking the officers from Lily and Emma. His voice cracks but never wavers. "You'll have to go through me." Lily clutches Emma tighter, whispering to her, trying to calm her cries, but her own tears betray her. She doesn't understand. "You're scaring her. Please don't do this." The officers around them exchange looks, tense, impatient. To them, a suspect is resisting. The protocol is simple: escalate, subdue, detain. David feels it like a storm building around him. One wrong move, and this ends with guns drawn on a father defending his daughter. He raises both hands, commanding the circle. Hold position. Nobody moves until I say. The authority in his voice slices through the tension, freezing everyone in place. Even Rex stills for a moment, eyes locked on the bear. David lowers himself again, crouching so his eyes meet Emma's. He softens his tone, trading command for compassion. Sweetheart, I know Teddy means the world to you. I just need to check him for a second. I'll give him right back. I promise. Emma sniffles, shaking her head hard, curls bouncing. No, he's mine. Knox, voice cuts in furious. You hear that? She said no. Leave her alone. David doesn't look at him. He can't. His focus has to stay on the little girl. The key to everything. He tries again. Slower this time. Emma. Sometimes my dog smells things people can't see. He thinks Teddy might be hiding something. If we show him there's nothing bad, Rex will stop barking, and you'll be the hero who calmed him down. The words hang in the air, gentle but heavy. Emma blinks through her tears, confused but listening. For the first time, she looks past David to Rex. The big German shepherd stares back, ears sharp, chest rumbling with restrained growls. Emma whispers, barely audible, "He's scary." David nods softly. Yeah, he can be, but he's only scary to bad guys. If you let me show him Teddy's safe, he'll calm down, I promise. Lily's lips tremble. She strokes Emma's hair, whispering encouragement. Baby, maybe just let him check. Then we can go on the plane. Okay. Emma hesitates. Her little fingers loosen on the bear, just enough that David sees an opening before he can move. Mark erupts again. No, I'm not letting some stranger rip open her bear. That's her whole world. Do you understand that? His voice cracks under the weight of desperation. She sleeps with it every night. She won't close her eyes without it, and you want to tear it apart in front of her. David finally looks up at him, eyes hard. His voice drops, low but cutting. Sir, if you keep resisting, my team will treat you like a hostile. Don't make your daughter watch that. Mark stares back, chest rising and falling like he's ready to swing at anyone who comes near. But behind his rage is something deeper: fear of losing not just a bear but control, dignity, maybe even custody of his child in this storm of suspicion. The standoff stretches long, seconds feeling like hours. The crowd outside murmurs, recording, whispering judgments they'll post online within minutes. The red lights keep flashing, sirens still wailing. And at the heart of it all, a child hugs her bear as if it's the last safe thing left in the world. David hears his radio again, the supervisor's voice now harsh. Carter, enough. Secure the bear now. That's an order. He exhales slowly, steadying his hands. He knows he has to move, but the way he moves will decide everything, whether this ends with relief or with trauma carved deep into a family's memory forever. He speaks one last time, voice calm but edged with steel. Sir, Mama, I don't want to take your daughter's bear by force, but if you don't let me, the next people who step in won't ask twice, and you don't want that. Mark's shoulders slump, the fight draining from him. He glances at Lily, whose tear-streaked face mirrors his own defeat. Finally, he nods, just barely. Do it quick, please. Just don't scare her more than she already is. David nods once, then turns back to Emma. His voice softens again, almost kind. Emma, can I see Teddy now? The girl sniffles, trembling, and finally slowly she holds out the stuffed bear. Rex leans forward, growl rising, every muscle locked. He knows what's inside, and in that fragile moment, with a child's innocence and a family's trust hanging by a thread, David reaches out his hand. The truth is seconds away from being revealed. The terminal holds its breath. Emma's small hands slowly release the teddy bear into David's grip. The fur is damp from her tears, soft but trembling with the weight of suspicion. She sniffles, staring at him with wide eyes full of confusion and betrayal. David feels the bear's weight in his palms, heavier than it should be. A stuffed toy isn't supposed to press down like this. Something inside shifts. Stiff, unnatural. Rex growls low, tail rigid, body coiled like a spring ready to strike. His instincts scream louder than the alarms overhead. The radio in David's ear crackles again, sharp, relentless. Carter, move it. Scan the object. Now. He rises to his feet slowly, teddy bear in hand, eyes never leaving the family. Lily clutches Emma close, whispering into her hair. Mark stands frozen, fists tight, helpless rage written across his face. David motions to his team. Bring the portable scanner. Younger officer rushes forward with a handheld device, a black rectangular unit humming with static. He powers it up, and a faint blue glow spreads across the screen. David places the teddy bear on a metal inspection table. The room feels colder now, like the machine itself drains the warmth out of the air. The crowd beyond the barricades presses closer, murmuring. Phones tilt higher. The entire terminal has become an audience, waiting for the verdict. The scanner passes over the bear once, nothing. Twice. The screen flickers. 3 times beep, red outline flashes on the display. Hidden compartment detected. The officer holding the device stiffens. Lieutenant, it's registering a dense object inside. Not fabric, not stuffing. The words hit like a gunshot. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Emma cries harder, reaching toward her bear as if she can pull it back into safety. Mark's voice cracks, raw and desperate. No, that's wrong. Your machine is wrong. It's just cotton inside. That's all. David doesn't answer. He stares at the red shape on the scanner's screen. Too sharp, too defined. Whatever's inside this bear doesn't belong. The supervisor's voice cuts through his earpiece again, urgent and cold. Carter, open it. We need eyes on that object immediately. If it's live, we neutralize it before this entire concourse goes up. David exhales, a knot tightening in his chest. He glances back at Emma. She's sobbing into her mother's shoulder, tiny hands, reaching out. Give Teddy back. Please, don't hurt him. Her words slice deeper than any order ever has. David feels the weight of choice pressing down. To her, this isn't about explosives or protocols. It's about trust. A stranger is about to rip open the only friend she believes will never leave her. He steadies his hands, pulling a small blade from his utility pouch. The bear lies on the table, its stitched smile staring back at him. Please, Lily whispers, her voice trembling. Don't do this in front of her. She's just a child. David hesitates. His training says speed, precision, exposure, but his humanity says shield the girl. He nods to 2 officers. Move them back. Don't let her see this. The family resists, but they're gently pulled a few feet away. Emma screams through her teeth. Teddy, no. David swallows hard, then slides the blade into the seam of the bear's back. The fabric tears open with a sound that feels too loud, too violent for such a soft toy. White stuffing spills out across the metal surface like snow, and buried inside metallic, unnatural something glints under the harsh airport lights. The officers freeze. David pulls gently, his gloves brushing against smooth, heavy steel. A block-shaped device emerges, wrapped in black tape, wires coiled tight around it. The scanner officer whispers, voice shaking. Jesus, that's a charge unit. Another officer mutters, could be a detonator, or worse. David's chest tightens. He's seen IEDs in war zones, hidden in radios, cans, even children's toys. But seeing one pulled from the arms of a little girl in an American airport hits harder than anything overseas ever did. The radio erupts with the supervisor's voice. Confirm status. Is it live? David studies the device. No ticking, no obvious trigger, but the design is clean, professional, not the work of an amateur. It's real, he says quietly. We need EOD on site now. The words echo in the terminal, carried by silence heavier than the alarms. Emma breaks free from her mother's grasp, running toward the table. No, that's not Teddy, you're lying. Mark lunges after her, but she's fast, desperate. She reaches the edge of the inspection zone before 2 officers intercept her, lifting her back. Her cries cut through the air like glass shattering. Give him back! Give him back! David's throat burns. He forces himself to stay focused, but his eyes blur for a second. To Emma, he's not saving lives. He's the man who killed her best friend. Lily clutches her daughter tight, tears streaming. Mock pounds his fist against the barricade, voice cracking with rage. You monsters. She's 3 years old. 3, do you have any idea what you've just done to her? David doesn't respond. He can't. The weight of the device in his hands already says enough. 2 EOD technicians rush in, armored suits and heavy cases in tow. They take the device carefully, sealing it inside a lead container. One gives David a sharp nod. Good work. You might have just saved 100 people. The words feel hollow. Behind him, Emma's cries still echo, tearing into the victory like a knife. The supervisor comes over the comms again, his tone brisk, almost congratulatory. Carta, excellent containment. We'll debrief later. For now, detain the family for questioning. If they're connected, we'll know soon. David closes his eyes for a second, jaw clenched. He looks back at the family, Mark's fury, Lily's despair, Emma's broken sobs. He doesn't see terrorists. He doesn't see masterminds. He sees victims, caught in a web too big for them to understand. But orders are orders, and as armed officers close in on the family, David feels the line blur between protector and oppressor for the first time in his career. He wonders which side of that line he's standing on. The interrogation room was small, gray, and cold. No windows, just a metal table, 2 chairs on one side, and 1 chair on the other. A camera in the corner blinked with a red light, recording everything. Mark and Lily sat close together, hands linked tightly as if the simple act of holding on could protect them. Emma sat on her mother's lap, clutching her torn teddy bear. The bear had been stitched clumsily with tape after security ripped it open. She didn't understand why everyone was so angry. Her big eyes darted around the room, confused, scared, searching for comfort. Lieutenant David Carter leaned against the wall, arms crossed, his uniform still crisp. But his face showed the strain of the last hour. He hated this part. He hated seeing families under the glare of suspicion. But the evidence wasn't lying. The scan had shown chemical traces inside that back across from him. Captain Harris slammed a file down on the table. The sound made Emma flinch. "Explain this," Harris demanded, sliding a small clear bag across the table. Inside was a glass vial. A fine white powder clung to its walls. The label was smudged, foreign lettering across it. Mark's face drained of color. Lily covered her mouth. That's Emma's medicine," Mark stammered. "It's a prescription. She's sick. Please, you have to believe us." Harris narrowed his eyes. "A prescription, in powder form, hidden inside a stuffed toy. You expect me to buy that?" David shifted uncomfortably. Rex was lying quietly by the door, but his eyes never left Emma. The dog seemed calmer now, as if he knew the child wasn't the threat. Lily's voice cracked. "We hid it because we were afraid it wouldn't pass security. The medicine isn't approved here. It's experimental. She needs it every day, or she couldn't finish." Her voice broke into sobs. Mark leaned forward, his hands trembling. "She has a rare immune disorder. No hospital here carries what she needs. We had to bring it ourselves. We can't risk losing it. That's why we hid it." David stepped closer, picked up the vial, and turned it in his hand. The label wasn't English. The characters looked Eastern European, sharp, angular. He narrowed his eyes. "This doesn't look like narcotics labeling. These markings could be pharmaceutical." Harris cut him off. "Or it could be a clever cover. Dogs reacted for a reason. Chemical signatures don't lie." "Yes," David admitted. "But dogs can misread certain compounds. If this formula shares chemical markers with explosives or toxins, Rex could have been fooled." He glanced at Emma, clutching her bear, whispering softly to herself. "Smugglers don't usually cry in front of their children." Emma finally spoke, her little voice trembling. "It's my medicine. Teddy keeps it safe." Her words echoed in the silence. Even Harris faltered for a moment. David straightened. "We need a lab confirmation, right now. If it's legitimate medicine, we're tearing a family apart for nothing." Harris barked into his radio. "Get the compound tested. Priority 1. 2 officers rushed the vial out. The door shut hard behind them. The wait stretched forever. Mark sat rigid, knuckles white. Lily rocked Emma, humming softly to keep her calm. David paced, torn between instinct and procedure. Rex had alerted. Yes, but maybe to a harmless overlap of chemistry. He'd trusted the dog with his life before, but even the best could be fooled. Finally, the door opened. An officer stepped in with a report. Harris snatched it and scanned quickly. His jaw tightened. "Well," David pressed. Harris slammed the report down. "It's not narcotics, not explosives, but it's also not something in our database. An unclassified compound could be medical, could be a precursor for something dangerous." Relief flickered in Lily's eyes, then vanished as Harris continued coldly, "Until international verification comes in. They remain in custody." "I won't risk a disaster on someone's word," Mock erupted. "You can't do this. She needs that medicine. If she misses even 1 dose, calm down." Harris snapped. "Your child's health is not my priority. Preventing mass casualties is." Emma broke down in tears, her sobs sharp in the sterile room. Rex's ears flattened, his body tensed, ready to shield her if he could. David clenched his jaw. He looked at the family, broken, terrified, powerless. Every instinct screamed they were innocent. But the machine of protocol was merciless, and it was grinding forward, and outside, in the chaos of stranded passengers and delayed flights. The real danger was already moving. The man with the silver suitcase, the one Rex had never gotten close enough to smell, the one no one had stopped, and he was already 1 step ahead. The airport lights burned through the night, casting long shadows across the terminal floor. Travelers shuffled nervously, their flights delayed, their patience worn thin. Announcements echoed overhead, muffled, distant, almost meaningless in the growing unease. But in that chaos, one man moved with chilling calm. the man with the silver suitcase. He blended into the crowd effortlessly. Gray suit, clean shave, eyes that never lingered too long on anyone. Nothing about him screamed danger. That was his. Groot vanishing into plain sight. He passed security checkpoints with a confidence that looked ordinary. A boarding pass flicked casually across the scanner. No alarms, no suspicion. The agents at the gate were too distracted, too rattled by the lockdown around the Carter interrogation. While the wrong family sat in a cold interrogation room, the real threat walked free. Back in the security office, David Carter paced like a caged animal. He couldn't shake the gnawing feeling in his chest. The image of Emma's wide, tear-filled eyes haunted him. His instincts screamed louder with each passing minute. Something wasn't right. Rex stood near the door, restless. The dog's ears twitched, nose sniffing the stale air, as if searching for something beyond the walls. David knelt down, scratching behind Rex's ear. "You feel it too, don't you, boy?" The dog whined softly, uneasy. Captain Harris entered, slamming another file onto the desk. "We've got flights stacked on the tarmac. Politicians calling my phone nonstop, and the press already sniffing around. We don't have time for your gut feelings. Carter, we've got suspects, and that's enough for now." David's eyes burned into his superior. "They're not suspects, they're desperate parents. And while we waste time breaking them apart, the real threat could already be inside this airport." Harris's voice was ice. "Your emotions are clouding your judgment." David's response was calm but firm, every word measured. "No, sir, this isn't emotion. This is instinct and Rex. He's telling us something, and I've learned to trust that. Always." The room froze. Even Harris blinked, momentarily unsettled by the certainty in David's tone. But he didn't back down. "Careful, Lieutenant, you're out of line." David said nothing more, but when he looked down, Rex was no longer restless. The dog was focused, rigid, tail stiff, muscles coiled like a spring. Whatever was out there, Rex knew, and David had seen that look too many times to ignore it. At the gate, the man with the silver suitcase sat calmly in the waiting area, eyes flicking to the digital board. Departure in 20 minutes. He adjusted his cufflinks, his fingers brushing against a small device hidden beneath his sleeve. The suitcase sat upright beside his leg. To anyone else, it looked ordinary, but inside, carefully concealed within false panels, lay components that could tear a hole through steel. He checked his watch. Everything was on schedule. The diversion was working. David finally stepped out of the interrogation block. He needed space, needed air. The terminal buzzed with restless energy as he walked through. Rex by his side, his eyes scanned the crowd instinctively, searching, reading faces, body language. Most passengers looked the same, tired, frustrated, annoyed. But one corner of the waiting lounge drew his attention. A man in a suit, still calm when everyone else was restless, posture perfect, breathing controlled, and that suitcase, polished, untouched. David's gut twisted. He whispered to Rex, "Find him." The dog's head snapped up instantly, ears sharp, body tense. Rex's nose lifted as he caught a scent foreign, chemical, shop. His growl rumbled low, a sound that had never once been wrong in David's career. David pressed a hand to his earpiece. "This is Carter. I've got something. Concourse B, Gate 27, male, gray suit, silver case, possible match, static." Then Harris's voice, "Stand down. Carter, that area's clear. Focus on the suspects in custody." David's jaw tightened. His pulse stayed steady, but his decision was already made. "With respect, sir, Rex has a confirmed hit. I trust him more than I trust your files. I'm not standing down." Carter. David pulled the earpiece free, setting it down instead of crushing it. His move wasn't reckless, it was deliberate. He had read Rex's signal, weighed the risk, and made his choice. The man with the silver suitcase felt the change. Years of training told him when eyes lingered too long, when silence shifted, when danger was near. His hand slid casually to the suitcase handle. Slowly, he stood. David tensed. Rex growled louder now, pulling against the leash. Their eyes met across the crowd, for the first time. The man's calm cracked just slightly, enough for David to see the truth. This was no traveler. This was the shadow behind it all. Passengers began boarding. The line formed, moving forward unknowingly toward disaster. The man stepped into it, suitcase rolling smoothly by his side. David moved closer, cutting through the crowd, his voice sharp but controlled. "Sir, step out of line." The man ignored him. "Sir." David's voice rose, commanding. "Stop where you are." Heads turned. The tension spread like a wave. The man turned slightly, eyes cold, empty, and then he smiled. Just a flicker, a smile that carried no warmth, only menace. David's blood chilled, because in that smile he saw the truth. The family in custody wasn't the threat, this man was. And if David was even one step too late, the price would be catastrophic. Rex barked, loud and sharp, breaking the silence. Everything was about to explode. The world slowed to a single heartbeat. The man with the silver suitcase, was only 10 steps from the boarding tunnel. Passengers shuffled ahead, oblivious voices blending into a dull roar. The intercom droned another announcement no one truly heard, but David heard everything. The click of suitcase wheels, Rex's low growl vibrating through the leash, his own pulse hammering against his skull. He didn't wait for orders. He moved. Stop him. David's voice cut across the terminal. The crowd froze, some gasping, others stumbling back. The man in the gray suit didn't flinch. He simply quickened his pace, his calm as unnerving as a predator stalking prey. David surged forward, shoving past startled travelers. Rex lunged with him, barking sharp and furious. The man glanced back, one size cold, calculating, then bolted into a sprint toward the jet bridge. Chaos erupted. Screams, alarms, a rolling suitcase clattering across tile. David's muscles fired with instinct. He leapt over a bench, dodged a panicked traveler, barreled down the concourse. Rex was already ahead, a blur of fur and fury pulling him into the chase. "Carter, what the hell are you doing?" Harris's voice exploded in his calms. David ignored it. He knew this was it. This was the real threat. Not the family in custody, not the stuffed bear. This man, this suitcase. And if he escaped, hundreds would die. The gray-suited man slammed through the gate door, knocking a flight attendant aside. The boarding tunnel stretched ahead, narrow, metallic, echoing with each pounding step. He ran like he'd done it before, trained, efficient, ruthless. David was seconds behind, Rex lunging so hard the leash burned his hand. The tunnel clanged beneath his boots. The man whipped around, pistol in hand. A shot cracked, deafening in the confined space. Sparks burst from the wall inches from David's head. Passengers trapped near the aircraft screamed, ducking to the floor. David dove behind a support beam, hard hammering. Rex sparked furiously, teeth bared. "Drop it," David roared. Another shot, ricochet screams. Then the man bolted again, dragging the suitcase toward the waiting plane. David released Rex. The dog exploded forward, claws clattering, a living missile of muscle and rage. The man spun, eyes widening. As Rex slammed into him, the pistols skidded across the floor. The attacker twisted, kicking hard, slamming Rex into the wall. The dog yelped but clamped tighter, shredding fabric. The suitcase tipped it, sliding toward the edge of the tunnel. David lunged, diving across metal, catching the handle before it dropped. His shoulder screamed in pain as the weight yanked him down. He held on, every tendon burning. The man roared, grappling with Rex, trying to pry free. David scrambled up, the suitcase in one hand, pistol in the other. "It's over," his voice thundered. The man's eyes locked with his, empty, soulless. For a heartbeat, silence held. Then the man smiled, that same, chilling smile. His free hand darted into his jacket, pulling a small black trigger. David fired. The shot slammed into the man's shoulder, blood sprayed. The trigger clattered to the floor. Rex dragged him down, snarling, refusing to let go. David gripped the suitcase, chest heaving, sweat and gunpowder choking the air. Agents stormed the jet bridge at last, weapons raised, voices overlapping. Harris shoved through, face red with fury. "What the hell have you done, Carter?" David didn't answer. His weapon stayed aimed at the bleeding man pinned beneath Rex. Two agents wrenched the suspect's arms behind his back, snapping cuffs tight. Another scooped the fallen trigger into a secure case. Bomb techs rushed in, lifting the silver suitcase from David's grip, carrying it toward containment. The man coughed, lips slick with blood, but his smile didn't fade. His voice rasped through the chaos. "You think you stopped it? I was only the delivery." The words cut colder than any bullet. Harris froze. Agents exchanged uneasy glances. David's jaw clenched. He'd won the chase, saved the plane, saved the airport. But in his gut, he knew this wasn't the end. That smile wasn't defeat, it was a promise, and promises like that don't die easily. The tunnel stank of cordite and sweat. The gray-suited man lay pinned, coughs biting into his wrists, blood soaking his jacket. Rex loomed over him, growling low, lips curled back in a snarl. David still held the silver suitcase. Its weight was wrong and natural, heavier than it should be. Every nerve in his body screamed, "Don't open it here. Clear the tunnel." David barked. His voice cracked like thunder. "Now, everyone out." Agents shoved passengers back through the terminal, some crawling, some sobbing. Harris hesitated, then snapped to action. Yelling for containment, the noise swelled boots. Radios crisp, but David heard only the sound of the suitcase clicking against his glove as he set it down. The man coughed, blood on his lips, and still, impossibly, he smiled. "You're too late," he rasped. David's throat went dry, snapped the latches. The suitcase opened with a hollow click. Inside a nest of wires, blinking lead, a block of molded Semtex no larger than a shoebox at its heart, a digital timer. 0 hours 14 minutes and 59 seconds, 14 minutes. The world narrowed to that clock. 14:58, 14:57, 14:56, and every second was a hammer on his chest. He'd seen IEDs before, crude roadside traps, messy and desperate. But this wasn't desperation. This was precise, professional. A device meant not just to kill, but to broadcast a message. And the man beneath Rex was still smiling. "Bomb squad. Now," Harris shouted into his comm, voice breaking. "EOD-2 Gate C immediately." David crouched closer, eyes scanning the wiring. Training buried deep clawed its way back. Multiple triggers, a remote-ready receiver. Fail-safes stacked like a cruel puzzle. Whoever built this wanted to guarantee one thing: detonation. "If they try to move it, it'll blow," David muttered. Harris's face drained of color. "Then what the hell do we ground the planes? Clear the terminals." Now, David's voice was steel. Harris hesitated, then obeyed. His radio crackled with frantic orders. The man coughed again, his voice a broken hiss. "You think this box is all that matters? You really don't get it." David pressed a boot harder against his chest. "Where are the others?" The man just laughed with hoarse, triumphant tick-tock. The timer glared. 12:42, 12:41, 12:40. Rex wind, ears back, sensing the weight of every second. David's instincts screamed wait for EOD, but his gut knew, by the time they got here, the countdown would already be over. His hand slid to the knife strapped in his boot. He flicked it open. "Kata, no," Harris snapped. "Don't touch it." David ignored him. His world shrank to wires and numbers. Red, blue, yellow, black. Each one a path, each one a grave. "Easy," he whispered, steadying his breath. "Easy. Las Novias King K. Las Novias Kenturas Heat 913. He traced the circuits. 2 primaries, a backup relay, a failsafe hidden deep in the core. One wrong move, and everything vanished in flame. His palms sweated, his chest tightened. Emma's terrified face flashed in his mind. Her mother's sobs, Rex's steady trust at his side. This wasn't just a bomb. It was every life in this terminal. In his hands the man sneered, blood in his teeth. "You'll never finish in time." David's knife hovered, trembling. His muscles screamed. He shut his eyes for half a heartbeat, heard his own voice years younger, before it all went wrong, saying he could make a difference. He acted. The blade slid under a wire, one breath, and he cut. The timer froze. 0 hours 5 minutes and 0 seconds. The red LEDs blinked, once, twice, then went dark. Silence collapsed over the tunnel like a wave. David exhaled so hard his chest ached. His knife clattered from his hand. Rex pressed against his leg, steady, grounding. It was over. For now. The man's laugh broke the silence. Louder now. "Hasha, you think you won," he hissed. That was just a distraction. David's stomach iced over, somewhere in the airport. Another timer was ticking, and this time, there might not be 5 minutes left. The night at JFK had felt endless, but now, as the first pale streaks of dawn spread across the glass walls of the terminal, the storm had finally passed. Where there had been alarms and shouting, there was now only silence, heavy but no longer suffocating. David stood on the mezzanine, overlooking the departure gates. His clothes were torn, his hands still trembled faintly, and the echo of the ticking clock seemed etched into his skull. Rex sat pressed against his leg, dock coat matted with sweat and dust. Ears alert but eyes calm, steady as ever. A reminder that David wasn't alone. Below, order was returning from chaos. Passengers once crammed together in fear were now being led out in small groups. Wrapped in emergency blankets, some sobbed, others simply stared, too exhausted to speak, and then he saw them. Mark, Lily, and little Emma. They had been kept apart for hours, questioned, doubted, treated as suspects. But now the truth was known, and they were free. Mark held his wife and Dora as if afraid they might vanish again. Lily kissed Emma's hair again and again, whispering promises only a mother can make. It was messy, it was Robert, it was real. Emma's eyes found David. She wriggled free, her tiny footsteps pattering across the polished floor. "Doggy," she squealed, throwing her arms around Rex's thick neck. For the first time that night, David almost smiled. Rex stood perfectly still, tail wagging gently, lowering his head so the little girl could cling to him. She had survived the night. Now she was safe in the arms of someone who would never let her go. David crouched beside them. His voice came out rough. "Hey, kiddo, you okay?" Emma nodded, face buried in Rex's fur. Lily hurried forward, gathering her daughter close, tears streaking down her face. "I thought we lost everything," she whispered. "I thought they'd take her away forever." David had no words. He simply rested a steady hand on her shoulder, grounding her, letting silence speak for him. Behind them, Captain Harris appeared. His uniform was neat again, but his eyes betrayed exhaustion. He had been the voice of protocol, of suspicion, the man ready to condemn an innocent family. Now, even he seemed changed. "You did good tonight, Carter," Harris said quietly. "You and Rex. You saved thousands of lives." But he glanced at the family. His voice faltered. "We almost destroyed them in the process." David met his gaze. "Sometimes doing the right thing doesn't look right in the moment, but it has to be about more than procedure, Captain. It has to be about people." Harris gave a single nod, then walked away. Shoulders heavy, David stayed where he was, watching families reunited. Agents lowered their weapons. The airport, scarred by fear, slowly breathed again, and beyond the glass. The sun broke the horizon, spilling gold across the floor, chasing away shadows that had seemed permanent only hours before. Rex nudged David's hand. The shepherd's eyes were steady, watchful, but softer now, too. David knelt, resting his forehead against Rex's. "You did good, partner," he whispered. "You saved lives tonight, but more than that. You reminded me what's worth protecting. Not just stopping the bad guys, protecting the good, even if it's just one little girl and her teddy bear." Rex exhaled, almost like a sigh. David straightened. For the first time in years, he filled his lungs with clean morning air that didn't taste like ash or regret. It tasted like possibility. Down the hall, Emma waved again before disappearing with her parents into the flood of survivors. Her smile was small, tired, but real, and just like that, the night was over. Not forgotten, never forgotten, but over. David placed a hand on Rex's harness, guiding him toward the exit. The dawn poured brighter now, painting long streaks of light across the floor. He whispered, almost to himself. "Sometimes one bark saves 100 lives." But it nearly broke one family. "I won't forget that." Rex glanced up at him as if agreeing. Together, man and dog walked out into the rising sun, the storm behind them, the day ahead. 2 days later, after the chaos had faded and the airport returned to its rhythm, David found himself standing outside a small suburban house. Rex sat beside him, tail wagging gently. Mark opened the door, surprise flashing across his face, then softening into gratitude. "Lieutenant, you didn't have to come." David gave a faint smile. "I just wanted to see how you all were doing." Lily appeared, holding Emma on her hip. The little girl spotted Rex and squealed. Reaching out, Rex leaned forward, nuzzling her tiny hand. David's chest eased. For the first time in days, he felt something simple, something real. "Take care of her," he said quietly. "She's stronger than you think." Mark nodded, eyes glistening. "And thank you for not giving up on us." David gave Rex a pat and stepped back toward the car. The world outside was still dangerous, still unpredictable, but seeing that family safe reminded him why he chose this path. Sometimes, saving strangers was duty, but remembering them afterward, that was humanity.